We've been bringing you a lot of Aquaman storylines from DC Rebirth, but one consistent through all of these storylines is that Atlantis is not happy with the decisions that their king is making. So, what does Atlantis truly want? And is it even King Arthur? In our last video, the Aquamarines asked for help from Arthur when an Antarctic research base went offline. Inside of that base, the substance known as H2.0 is changing people with great fears into the creature known as dead water. Just as Arthur closed the portal to the alien world causing the problem, Coram Wrath was released from his cell. After the events of the Aquamarines, Arthur and Mera return to Atlantis to find that something is wrong. The sea is too quiet, like all life is mute. As the two make their way to the throne room, they find that it is empty as well. But Arthur tells Mera to stay close. He doesn't think that they are alone. The water begins to shift and Arthur sees the Atlantean warriors all appear out of their cloaking fields, being led by Coram Wrath. Mera shouts, "What is it, the terrorists? The deluge? Are the traitors free? The king had you all locked in the jail cells to rot." Eurocell fires a net at Mera, telling her that he is not their king. And as Arthur struggles with Wrath, he asks, "What is this, a coup? Or is it just a plain old murder attempt?" Wrath says it's hard to seize power from a man who does not wield it. Arthur manages to push Wrath back, yelling, "Fine, just murder me then. I've had enough of these extremist actions." Wrath pushes back, asking, "Really? But you're never here. You're too busy with your surface interests and your mouth breather friends." Mera breaks free from the net, telling Arthur that there is no talking to this man. A king does not need to justify his policies to an enemy of the state. But as the two go back and forth, Arthur knocks Wrath into the royal halls, telling him, "There is no way that you could hope to beat me." Wrath picks himself back up, telling him, "I doubt anyone in Atlantis is a match for you or this Abelian woman. But are you a match for Atlantis?" Just as Mera asks what is he saying, Elder Liat tells her that what Wrath is saying is that his warriors were released by their authority. Meanwhile, down in the jail cell, Volko floats in his cell, stating that it's been daybreak since the release. Are they free to go? And Kreen says that he's not so sure. He's been here for 8 years. The outside scares him. All that open water. What if this is just a test? Volko tells him that King Arthur would never have set these doors open whilst they lay locked within. However, there is none more loyal to King Arthur than he. For the vault to be flung open, danger faces their city. Over in the audience hall with the Council of Elders, Liat tells Arthur that the council wants peace and security for their nation. Yet every day he seeks to draw them ever closer to their ancient enemy. Arthur shouts that the surface is not their enemies. Atlantis is doomed if it remains in blind isolation. The surface fears us. They fear our technology, power, and strangeness. Atlantis was once the foremost culture on Earth. It sank and detached itself and fell into a dark age. Atlantis deserves to take its place in the world once more, to be a part of the human race and Liat stops him, asking, "Is that what Atlantis wants?" The surface has their wars, their poverty, the corrosion of culture. The people of Atlantis see these progressive ways as a blight to be avoided. Arthur tries to say that a king must make painful decisions, but Liat asks, "What kind of king have you been? All you've done is brought us close to the end war with the American nation." Mera shouts that she can't believe any of this. Arthur is their king, the king, and they would challenge him? He has fought and risked his life for Atlantis. Wrath tells her that they have a great king, a king who put Atlantis first. Orm, out of respect for his elder brother, gave up his throne for Arthur. Mera turns to Reverend Mother Krita, looking for support, but Krita asks, when has Arthur ever needed their help? Though she thinks that Arthur is not an evil man, nor a thoughtless one, he races them ahead and drives the people to where they do not want to go. Even though he managed to stop a war, the surface now sees Atlantis as surrendering. And now, with the enemies surrounding them, all that it has done is made them look weaker. Krita then walks before the council and says that the king gave his word to his people, and the king's word is bond. It is law, and for that he must stand down. Mera tries to hold Arthur back as he tries reaching for Wrath, shouting, "For this man? He's the king that you all want?" And Liat tells him Orm is gone. The House of Atlan has ended. Coram Wrath represents the traditions that Atlantis values. But while Arthur and Wrath argue up in the balcony, Tula asks Merc, how can he just stand there? And Merc tells her that he serves Atlantis. Yes, he has come to admire Arthur Curry, despite every step that he has taken. But he is the commander of the Drift. He serves the king, whoever that may be. Later in Arthur's chambers, Arthur looks out of the ocean, stating that he knew it would be hard to drag Atlantis out of the Dark Ages. However, he is king, and he will fight for his throne to prove it. After more time passes with Arthur imprisoned, Mera asks if he remains that determined to fight this. Arthur asks where is Tula, and Mera says that she is already gone, broke her shackles, and fled. They could flee too, they could leave. He could just be Aquaman and Mera. Arthur and Mera. Arthur tells her that he can't. He can understand her anger, but she is not nearly as angry as he thought. Mara says that she does hate this, but this could be a chance for them, a new beginning. They have lives beyond this, a home in Amnesty Bay, one that she is quite fond of. He has his role as Aquaman. The surface at least needs him. They can be free of these responsibilities, of these backward traditions of a culture trapped in the past. They can be together like they've always wanted. Isn't this their chance for happiness at last? And Arthur asks, so? You just want to go to Amnesty Bay? And Mara says, yes, now, we can go, marry according to surface custom, and live and love. You once asked me to be your wife. Why not come and live with me in that world? And as Arthur stands there, he doesn't answer. And after a few moments of silence, Mara leaves, telling him, I'll be at the lighthouse. Later at the Great Hall of Atlantis, Elder Liot calls a meeting for those of Atlantis to announce their decision. They have weighed and debated on this grave matter. They have considered his worthiness to be a ruler of this nation. Does the king wish to address his chamber before they deliver their ruling? Arthur tells everyone that he urges them not to seek his removal. He is the king that their nation needs. He has done nothing but serve Atlantis, and he has fought for peace. Unless Atlantis engages with the surface nations and gains recognition as a vital power, then it will be lost. Liot says that they can see that he has not changed his position. Duly noted. Arthur, House of Atlan, the council has concluded that you are leading Atlantis down a dangerous path, a path which the people choose not to follow, and we anoint Coram Wrath as our monarch. Liot then stands asking Arthur, do you abide by our decision or will you fight against it? He looks at him and he asks, who the hell do you think I am? I am the king here! The moment Arthur moves, the Atlantean guards all grab a hold of him and Merc tells him for Neptune's sake, just submit! Don't make them! But before Merc can finish, Arthur breaks free to escape and Liot continues with the ceremony. He places the crown upon Coram Wrath's head and he says that the House of Atlan has ended. The House of Wrath now rises. Wrath stands stating to summon the Silent School for his first act to safeguard their nation. He will isolate it from the surface enemies. Magisters, release the crown of thorns from the silent armories. Raise it to uncurl and protect our state. At that moment, the thorns begin to grow from the ground surrounding Atlantis. Over in Amnesty Bay, Tula asks, what do they do? Do they just wait? And Mara stands on the shore stating that he will come. She knows that he is stubborn, which is a quality that she has come to love most about him. He will rage at the elders. He will tell them in unflinching terms what fools they are being. And that will be his last act as a king. As the two talk, there's a loud booming sound and a pillar of purple light appears over where Atlantis sits. Back in the city, Arthur swims up where the thorns are getting ready to meet. And as Mara rushes down to try and help him, he reaches out and Merc cuts into Arthur, telling him, I have no pleasure in this business. Mara screams for Arthur as she tries to fight through the thorns, but all she can do is watch as Arthur's body sinks. Now you're probably wondering what happens next in the storyline. Well, that is the arc that is happening right now in Aquaman, and I will bring it to you in a few months when it concludes, but you should definitely check it out as the artwork is just phenomenal and the story is incredible. Now, don't forget to check out the Justice League storylines. Don't forget to check out the other Batman storylines and other members of the DC universe. And you know what? Me and Houston just realized this. His name is King Arthur Curry. He is King Arthur. When I said it in the intro, that's when it clicked that he is King Arthur of Atlantis. Mind blown, everyone! Check out the Aquaman playlist right here and the DC Rebirth one right over here.